Governance isn't a final checkbox. It's a set of decisions, controls, and accountable owners that follow an AI system from idea to retirement. In this lesson, we'll focus on where responsibility lives and how trust is maintained over time. So far, we've established why AI changes enterprise risk and how governance models assign accountability. Now we'll turn that model into practical lifecycle controls, from concept through deployment, monitoring, and retirement. Lifecycle governance means governance does not happen once, at launch. It travels with the system from the first idea, through design, testing, deployment, monitoring, and eventual retirement. At each stage, teams apply controls for risk, compliance, security, privacy, ethics, and operations. They also document key decisions and changes, so accountability remains clear as the model, data, users, and risks. Across the lifecycle, governance works like a series of checkpoints. At ideation, teams confirm the business purpose, acceptable use, and risk tier. During design and data preparation, they review architecture, data sources, privacy, and required controls. In development and testing, evidence must support security, bias management, performance, explainability, and robustness. After deployment, the focus shifts to monitoring, incident handling, change approval, retirement, and audit evidence. Clear ownership is what keeps those checkpoints meaningful. Business owners approve the purpose, expected value, and acceptable risk. Technical owners are responsible for how the model is built, monitored, and kept reliable. Risk, legal, privacy, security, and compliance teams get involved when exposure is higher. Most importantly, everyone should know who can approve, escalate, pause, change, or retire the system when conditions change. Risk classification is where AI governance becomes practical. Instead of treating every experiment like a mission-critical system, teams match oversight to the level of risk. An internal brainstorming chatbot may need light controls. A system influencing credit, hiring, safety, or legal rights needs formal review, documentation, monitoring, and accountable owners. Classification should consider impact, data sensitivity, autonomy, regulation, and potential harm. It also needs to be revisited when the use case, data, users, or decision authority changes. Approval gates turn policy into action. At each stage, from intake through design, data approval, validation, deployment, and later changes, the team must show that the system is ready to move forward. That evidence may include risk assessments, data lineage, privacy and security reviews, test results, and a monitoring plan. For high-risk AI, decisions should involve governance, risk, legal, security, and compliance leaders. Every approval, exception, assumption, and residual risk should be recorded for auditability. Strong documentation answers 3 governance questions. What is this system for? Where is it safe to use? And where should it never be used? Capture the business purpose, users, decision context, data sources, model type, and oversight requirements. Be explicit about assumptions, performance limits, failure modes, and prohibited uses. Artifacts such as model cards, data sheets, risk assessments, and approval records turn that knowledge into something teams can audit, operate, and trust. With data preparation, governance is about controlling what the model is allowed to learn from. Before data becomes training or retrieval input, confirm where it came from, who owns it, and whether consent, licensing, and retention rules permit the use. Then test whether it is complete, representative, and biased in ways that matter. Apply privacy and security controls such as minimization, masking, encryption, and access limits. Finally, preserve lineage so transformations and approval decisions can be traced later. Before a model is built, teams should compare the real options: rules, workflow redesign, traditional machine learning, and LLM API, fine-tuning, or RAG. The best choice is not the most advanced one. It is the one that fits the purpose, can be explained, controlled, secured, and operated at acceptable cost. Once the approach is selected, development needs guardrails, including secure prompts and APIs, managed dependencies, protected secrets, version tracking, evaluation data, assumptions, and design decisions. Testing has to go beyond, does it work? Teams need to understand how the system behaves under pressure, with unusual inputs, different users, and possible attacks. That means checking accuracy, robustness, bias, hallucination, toxicity, privacy leakage, security, and operational resilience. For high-risk use cases, validation should be independent and evidence-based. The release decision should follow clear go or no-go criteria, performance thresholds, control effectiveness, risk tolerance, and accepted residual risk. At deployment, AI governance becomes operational. Before release, teams should confirm security, access, monitoring, fallback procedures, user communication, and support ownership. The release should also define operating conditions, including human oversight, usage boundaries, logging, escalation, and scope. After launch, material changes to models, data, prompts, integrations, users, or decision authority should trigger reassessment. If controls fail, rollback, suspension, and incident response need to be ready. Once live, an AI system can drift, users can find new ways to use it, and risks can emerge. Governance means assigning real owners for outcomes, operations, incidents, and reporting. It also means watching metrics, feedback, security signals, and threshold breaches. When warning signs appear, teams need predefined actions: retrain, restrict, redesign, or retire. Accountability is what turns monitoring into responsible control. For example, imagine an enterprise assistant that can search internal documents and trigger operational workflows. Governance starts by defining its purpose: users, owner, allowed tasks, and forbidden actions. The team then classifies risk based on data sensitivity, integrations, autonomy, and impact. Each gate should test security, privacy, retrieval quality, and deployment readiness with least privilege, logging, human confirmation, monitoring, and escalation built in. The key point is that AI governance is not a one-time approval. It is continuous oversight across the lifecycle, with clear ownership, evidence, monitoring, change control, and incident response. As risk increases, controls must strengthen through review, validation, auditability, and escalation. Next, we'll connect these practices to standards, frameworks, and regulatory alignment.